watching the best. Fox 10 News at 9.
Tonight, Hurricane Ida ripped through Louisiana, one of the strongest storms ever to hit the U.S. Police in the East Valley are searching for a suspect who is searching for unsuspecting women. And the latest on Afghanistan, a new U.S. airstrike today as Arizonans try to get people out of the country in time. Welcome to Fox 10 News at 9. We begin with a look at the Gulf Coast tonight. Hurricane Ida hit the area with fierce winds and pounding rain, and tonight as it moves inland, millions of Americans are in its path. The giant storm made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane with winds up to 150 miles an hour. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively has the latest from New Orleans.
Hurricane Ida was so strong when it made landfall, it actually made the Mississippi River flow in reverse. Right now, those winds are still ripping through New Orleans. The Gulf Coast rocked Sunday by 150-mile-per-hour winds as Hurricane Ida came ashore as a Category 4. Louisiana, the state that is no stranger to hurricanes, now bracing for one of its toughest tests yet. Residents have been warned to shelter in place and stay off the roads, as it could be a while before first responders are able to reach those who need help. The storm growing in intensity so quickly that New Orleans had no time to organize a full evacuation. Those who've stuck around now have no choice but to ride it out. Hundreds of thousands have already lost power, and it could be weeks until it's fully restored. The New Orleans levee system, rebuilt and improved after Katrina, now faced with holding back a life-threatening storm surge.
Will it be tested? Yes, but it was built for this moment.
These winds are only expected to intensify as we head into the overnight hours. In New Orleans, I'm Caroline Shively, Fox 10 News. Brian, back to you.
Well, in the middle of the mess, a handful of volunteers from Arizona there to help the victims survive the storm. Fox 10's Jennifer Martinez joins us live with more on their mission. Jenny.
Well, Brian, with the Red Cross, they sent over a team of 20 people from Arizona, but they tell me that those volunteers, they are hunkering down until the storm passes.
We're at a disaster.
The eye of Hurricane Ida has now hit New Orleans. Officials calling this the strongest hurricane to hit the state since Katrina. Strong winds, debris, trees uprooted, flooded streets, the city completely dark. Hundreds of thousands of people seeking shelter. Jim Harms, Red Cross shelter manager, says there's 11 Red Cross shelters in the area.
The 6 that I'm currently using are about 100 to 125 each of people that can stay in them.
In each of the shelters, there's sleeping arrangements, food, and medical assistance.
Some areas will have to hunker down by going into the hallways, away from all the windows and everything else that could be destructive because of the force of the wind. This is a different animal. Yeah, landfall's landfall, but the intensity, the speed, and how close you are to the impact area really makes a difference on, are you really truly ready?
Volunteers hunkered down, riding out the storm until it's safe to head out.
So it's a real mess initially after the storm hits. So you just need to get in and get your feet on the ground. If we didn't set up shelters until after the storm, think of all those people that would be trying to ride the storms out in their bathtubs or their bathrooms, in their basements, wherever. So the shelters give the people a safe place to be with other people to ride the storms out.
All right, let's take a look at video out of Mississippi. The hurricane causing flooding in the streets in Bay St. Louis. That is along the coastline. Let's check in with Fox 10 meteorologist Stephanie Almo for a look at the storm now. Steph.
Oh, yeah, we have seen a lot of damage, a lot of video and pictures out of that area. A catastrophic event that it is continuing to unfold as we speak. So Ida continues to work its way towards the northwest. It's moving a little bit further north, but you see it's still producing lots and lots of heavy rain across southeastern Louisiana, and some of the heavy rains has now shifted into Mississippi. So it's causing lots of problems in this general area, but you see how fast this is dumping around just north of New Orleans. You see by the yellows and the oranges and the reds how heavy this rain event is. So lots of strong winds, as Jenny actually pointed out, uprooted trees, power outages. So they have a lot that they are dealing with. There are plenty of warnings and advisories and watches that do remain in effect in this general area. But flooding is a big concern with all that heavy rain that continues to fall across the Gulf Coast region. Tornado watches are in effect as well. So you have the threat for some tornadoes, especially with some of the outer bands of this hurricane. So as we continue to track the path of this, so again, it's moving, it's going to shift a little bit to the north and then eventually move to the northeast as we head into Monday, going into Tuesday. Eventually downgrade into a tropical storm, then a tropical depression. But boy, it will continue to produce some more rain as it continues to move to the northeast, and flash flooding will be a concern, even areas up to the north, the Tennessee Valley, parts of the northeast as we head into the next coming days. Stay tuned. We'll check out what we can expect here in our neck of the woods. That's coming up a little bit later on in the newscast.
Oh my God! Yo!
And you're looking firsthand at the power of a Category 4 storm. Hurricane Ida's violent wind gusts ripped part of the roof off of a hospital today. There are no reports of injuries there. This hospital is in a low-lying area south of New Orleans. If you are heading to the airport soon, be sure to check your flight in advance. Many flights are delayed because of the storm, mostly to and from southern states like Texas and Oklahoma. Check out this video posted to Twitter. A crew from NOAA flying into the eye of the storm today as it moved over the Gulf of Mexico Sunday morning. This is after it headed through winds of 150 miles an hour. Residents who stuck it out in New Orleans were told to shelter in place for most of the day. Back in the valley, 2 men are killed this afternoon and several firefighters hurt during a hazmat situation. It happened in Avondale at the I-10 and 99th Avenue at a truck washing business at Pilot's Truck Stop. Police say the men were workers there, somehow got trapped inside the truck's container and overcome by residue from some kind of chemical. 4 firefighters were sent to the hospital suffering from heat exhaustion. Mesa police need help identifying a man wanted for attempted sexual assault and kidnapping. This is a sketch of the suspect. He's described as white or Hispanic with little to no hair, in his late 30s and with a muscular build. Police say he tried to assault at least 2 women in Mesa over the past few weeks, offering them rides in his truck and then threatening them with a handgun. The vehicle is possibly an early 2010 Ford F-150 four-door with stickers on the back window. One person is dead after an afternoon crash on the Loop 101 at Glendale today. DPS says a vehicle veered off the highway for some reason and crashed into a sign. The exit ramp was shut down during the investigation, causing big backups earlier today. The Arizona Health Department is reporting nearly 2,100 new COVID-19 cases today and 8 additional deaths. More than 18,700 Arizonans have died from the virus so far, and more than 1,780,000 cases have been reported since the start of the pandemic. 29% of ICU beds in Arizona hospitals are now being used by COVID patients, and nearly 56% of the state's population is now fully vaccinated. Coming up, the U.S. launches another drone strike in Afghanistan, what they hit and the possible attack it may have stopped. Plus, the latest on the Chandler print shop blown to bits, why the investigation is on hold. And from Arizona to schools across the country, board members are quitting over parents behaving badly.
And we've got an action-packed show during Fox 10 Sports Night at 10:30. We're talking D-backs, ASU football. We've got Rattlers highlights. Plus, of course, we're talking Cardinal football as we check in with Mike Bercovici, the former Arizona State Sun Devil quarterback who's now coaching with the Cardinals. He talks about his Hail Mary, Kyler Murray's Hail Mary, the state of the Sun Devils and the Cardinals. Some good stuff, and it all goes down during Fox 10 Sports Night at 10:30.
Just you watch Fox 10 News, Arizona's #1 news team. In the morning, at night, weekends. The Fox 10 weather experts and Fox 10 Sports.
You can trust Fox 10 News.
Just you watch.
You're watching Fox 10 News at 9 with Linda Williams and Brian Webb.
In Afghanistan, a U.S. drone strike today targets a vehicle carrying ISIS terrorists reportedly heading to the airport in Kabul. At least one suicide bomber and other militants from the affiliate group ISIS-K were reportedly killed. U.S. officials say the vehicle had explosives inside, causing secondary explosions after the airstrike. 3 children were also killed, according to an Afghan official. A Valley veteran who served in Afghanistan is trying to get people out of the country with time running out. And tonight we hear from the family of one of the victims of the deadly attack at the airport. Fox 10's Irene Snyder joins us live with more on this story. Irene.
Well, Brian, the family of that young victim, just about 7 years old, they're pleading for help tonight. They say they're essentially trapped in Afghanistan, mourning the loss of their son and just trying to find a way out. They say it happened in a matter of minutes. Bombs set off at Kabul airport, injuring and killing those who were trying to escape, including Mohammed Sayam Karimi.
And then the airport is bombed. My big son is dead.
He broke his leg and his arm in the suicide bomb attack, and his 7-year-old son was killed.
I'm not understand what happened. Listen, I'm look my son. My son is dead.
Karimi is a close friend of Arizona native Lance Camarena, who served in Afghanistan from 2017 to 2018. Now home in the Valley, his thoughts turned back to Kabul.
I mean, these people were great people that I know. I mean, loving people. They enjoyed spending time with us every day. They dreamed of making it to the U.S. and now they're trapped. They can't get evacuated. They're scared. The Taliban are harassing them.
Karimi says he worked with the U.S. forces for 12 years. He and his family still dreaming of one day making it to the United States. But the way things stand now, there is little hope in sight.
He's mentally broken. I mean, he's struggling from the anxiety and depression of knowing that there's a high possibility that he might be left behind, and then the grief that he can no longer bring his son with him, and that his son's no longer with him.
We also spoke virtually with Karimi's wife and children today. They don't speak much English, but a friend translating for them says they kept repeating the same 3 words: we need help. And they say there are thousands of other Afghan refugees just like this family that are trying to get out of Afghanistan and here to the U.S. And Karimi said he wanted to share a little bit more about his son, too. Wanted people to know that the kind of person he was, says he was the kind of kid that always smiled, even in the midst of all this tragedy going on around them. And they want people to know a little bit more about them and what they're going through. And if anyone can, they say they are just asking again for some help. Reporting live tonight, I'm Irene Snyder for Fox 10 News.
President Biden pays respects to the American soldiers killed in Afghanistan. 11 of the 13 victims arrived at Dover Air Base today. They were killed in a suicide bombing last week at the airport in Kabul. The president and first lady will also meet with their families. Well, military families scrambled to track down loved ones serving in Afghanistan after the attack last week, like William and Angela living near Las Vegas. Their son Trevor is a Marine and was at the airport in Kabul when the suicide bombing happened. He survived, and his parents were first frantic, then relieved when they got the call from him.
You start realizing it's every conversation, every word is precious.
My son is they're all changed from what they had to go through. So it was a great phone call, but, that was a bad day.
The family wants to organize an event in Las Vegas now to honor the victims of last week's attack.
We are continuing to track Tropical Storm Nora right near Mexico. For us here in Arizona, we could be getting some of that tropical moisture as we head into this new week. Stay tuned. We'll check out the full weather forecast coming up right after the break.
Fox 10 News is back.
Several 100,000 homes and businesses along the coast have no power as Ida rolls through. In this video, you can see winds beginning to pull a tree up by its roots in New Orleans. Roofs were blown off buildings and storm surges reaching up to 16 feet.
You're watching the Fox 10 Weather Experts with Stephanie Almo on Fox 10 News.
And sadly, catastrophic damage continues to unfold as we continue tonight and into the next following days, as we do have Ida that continues to work its way up further inland. Now, eventually, it's taking that northeasterly path as we head into the next couple of days, impacting the Tennessee Valley, mid-Atlantic states and parts of the Northeast. It's going to dump a lot of rain, and so widespread flooding is expected as we take you into in the next couple of days. So how much rain are we talking about in this general area? So parts of southeastern Louisiana already picking up over 10 inches of rain. And then as you see the path here, all the reds and the oranges, some areas could clearly pick up over 2-3 inches of rain by the time it's all said and done, as the remnants of Ida continues to work its way up towards the northeast. So this is going to impact a large portion of our country, but obviously the brunt of it is impacting the Gulf Coast region. As we check out the tropical activity, what's going on in the Pacific, or I should say the Gulf of California, we do have a tropical storm Nora as it continues to move its way up towards the north, right along the coast of Mexico. Now, it weakened into a tropical storm earlier today. Right now, it's producing maximum sustained winds of 40 miles an hour. Right now, it's moving to the northwest at 12 miles an hour, and it will continue to weaken as we head into late tomorrow and going into Tuesday, becoming eventually a remnant low. And so we could get some of that moisture, this tropical moisture here in Arizona as we head into the next couple of days. So again, we do have a little bit of moisture approaching the border here, the international border. We have more of that monsoon setup, but we will see more of that boost, especially as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. So right now, what we're looking at is some isolated activity, showers and thunderstorms continuing at this time. It was earlier today that we had some stronger storms, especially north and east of the valley. But as we check out conditions right now, things continue to wind down some. So as we focus over Winkleman and down to San Manuel, we are getting some isolated thunderstorms at this time. Also right near Safford, we're getting some thunderstorms. That's where we have a flood advisory just to the south of Safford until 11:15 tonight. Let's check out the picture over Kearney, where we do have some showers continuing in that area, some lightning just to the northwest of them and the west of them. Florence as well getting in some of the action here. We head up to Spring Valley, where there's a flood advisory, or flood warning that remains in effect until 10:15 tonight. This is including parts of I-17, including Mayer as well, because of the strong thunderstorm that moved through that area. It was earlier today also that we had some strong storms move over Mojave County. Things are beginning to wind down some, just some light showers for the most part. But as we continue here late tonight, again, things will continue to die down some, and we have more cloud cover continuing late tonight into the overnight hours into tomorrow as well. There's a slight chance to see some wet weather here in the valley. Again, greater chances as we take you into Tuesday and Wednesday. Let's check out the 10-day forecast as we head into tomorrow. Temperatures will be right around average, around 106. Then we will see temperatures drop back into the 90s as we head into Tuesday. Greater storm chances again, 50% chance, 70% chance by Wednesday. And then look at that number, Brian, 87. That may even get lower. So it all depends what we end up seeing the next couple of days.
And adds on to the strange summer we've already had. Right?
Absolutely.
Keeps on coming.
Keeps on coming.
Thank you, Steph.
You're welcome.
Lots more ahead tonight at 9. New details on last night's crash in South Phoenix that killed a little girl. Plus, brothers accused of burying family members in the backyard. Neighbors chime in on why they may have done it. And cats take control of an East Valley cafe, the perfect place for yoga classes and movie nights with your favorite feline.
Fox 10 News is back.
A pedestrian is killed on the Loop 101 today near Union Hills. It happened about 4 o'clock. Up to 4 crashes were reported in the area at the time, and the southbound lanes were shut down near 75th Avenue during the investigation. The identity of the victim has not been released. New details on last night's deadly accident in South Phoenix. The 2-car crash sent 3 adults and 2 children to the hospital. 6-month-old Ivory Gerald died from her injuries. Police say a driver ran a red light. A witness said it looked like a car was flying through the air. Police say impairment does not appear to be a factor. Delays for federal authorities investigating the explosion at a Chandler print shop. Agents with the ATF say they cannot go into the building until the walls are deemed structurally sound after the roof was blown off. The cause of the explosion remains under investigation, but the ATF says they're looking at a possible fuel-air explosion that might have been ignited by a gas leak. Two brothers who own the shop have second and third degree burns on their arms, hands, and legs, along with two other men. They are all expected to survive. A 2-year-old is found wandering around in a Mesa apartment complex overnight. Mesa police were able to track down his mother today. That's after the boy was found alone at the Central on Broadway apartments around 3:30 in the morning. Pictures show what police call rashes on his body. And while investigators sort things out, the boy is staying with the Department of Child Safety. Two brothers are in custody tonight in Illinois after two bodies are found buried in the backyard. Both men suffer from health issues and persistent poverty. Two brothers handcuffed and taken into custody Saturday, 2 days after they admitted to police they buried their mother and sister's body in the backyard.
Two human remains were recovered, buried about a foot down underneath the dirt. Again, they have not been identified.
Police say the family was living in deplorable conditions. Inside, the doors barricaded with debris, no electricity or gas, and no running water. Neighbors would see one of the brothers regularly climbing in and out of a window.
And it's just surreal. We knew them from church. We knew them from Cub Scouts.
Debbie Knitter has known the family for at least 20 years. She says they were pretty quiet and kept to themselves. The men reportedly buried the bodies because they could not afford a funeral.
They said they didn't have the money to do it, and they just buried her the best they could because it was their mom and their sister. And they are, they're a little bit challenged.
The police chief said the brothers had been previously checked out in a nearby hospital and were released. Longtime neighbors say they'd cut the family's grass and offer food, but they often sensed something was wrong.
If they would have addressed this issue before, maybe we wouldn't be here right now.
We know that concealment of a death is a felony in the state of Illinois. If it turns out it's a homicide, concealment of a homicide is a more serious offense.
Back to Arizona now. The Associated Press reports that Arizona is among the states offering the lowest amount of rental assistance. Other states are ramping up rental assistance lately after the Supreme Court ended the eviction moratorium. According to the Treasury Department, states have distributed $5.1 billion out of an estimated $46.5 billion up for grabs. That is only 11%. School board members are stepping down across the country, with meeting after meeting turning into shouting matches over mask mandates.
It is moved and seconded that the governing board of Scottsdale Unified recess to its regular meeting of...
School districts in Nevada and Wisconsin have seen multiple departures in recent weeks. The resigning members say they fear for their safety. And Arizona is no exception. Several Scottsdale Unified members reported being afraid after a heated meeting in May. Dr. Tara Armstead left her job at Litchfield Elementary School District last week over parents' complaints on COVID policies. She'd only been on the board for 5 months. And back in May, Dr. Jesse Welch stepped down from his Paradise Valley School District job after reported threats against his family and protests outside of his home. Well, cats are now in control of an East Valley cafe, Kitty Paws Kitty Cafe and Saving One Life Animal Rescue and Sanctuary teamed up for today's grand opening. The cafe is designed for playing, relaxing, and cuddling with cats of all kinds, and a way to get that perfect cat fix or adopt a new companion.
All of our kitties are adoptable, so we're hoping that they'll all get their forever homes.
The Lounge in Mesa offers yoga with cats, bingo with cats, and movie nights with cats. Lots more ahead. A Good Samaritan saves a little boy from choking, and the cameras are rolling for the happy reunion. And we hear from the wife of a missing Lake Havasu man. Where did he go after suffering a serious head injury?